Have you ever walked past yourself and paused just for a second wondering, was that me, that faint scent barely there, but enough to make you feel uneasy? You shower, you clean, you try to do everything right, and yet something still feels off. You're not imagining it, and you're certainly not alone. For many women over 60, our bodies begin to speak in quieter ways, subtle changes in skin hormones and routine that can lead to unexpected odors, even when we're doing our best to stay clean. But here's the truth, it's not about being dirty, it's about knowing better, because sometimes it's the habits we think are helping that quietly make things worse. In this video, we'll uncover 8 surprising bathroom habits that might be aging your scent, not your spirit. And more importantly, I'll show you gentle, doctor-backed solutions that help you feel fresh, clean, and deeply comfortable in your skin again. If you've ever wondered about this, even once, comment the number 1 below, just so I know I'm speaking to the right woman. And if you'd like more simple, trustworthy tips like this, please subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a moment of real wisdom made just for you. And don't go anywhere, because near the end of this video, I'll share one small shift that could change how you feel about your body forever. Let's begin. Her name is Eleanor, and at 65, she thought she had settled into her skin. She had raised a family, survived heartbreak, weathered more winters than she could count. And with each passing year, she grew a little stronger, a little wiser. But one warm afternoon, while helping her granddaughter tie her shoes, the little girl looked up with innocent eyes and asked, "Grandma, why do you smell like the attic?" Eleanor laughed at first, brushing it off with grace. But later that night, alone in her bathroom, she sniffed at her shirt, then her arm, then her towel. And for the first time, she wondered, is this what getting older smells like? You see, no one really talks about this part. We talk about wrinkles, memory joints, but the quiet shift in how our body smells, it feels too delicate, too embarrassing, and yet it's real. As we age, our skin becomes thinner, more fragile, making it easier for bacteria to linger. Hormone levels drop, especially after menopause, which changes how sweat glands behave and how our body processes oils. Even natural exfoliation slows down, meaning dead skin cells don't shed as quickly, building up silently, especially in places we often overlook. But here's what matters most. This isn't about being dirty, it's about being different. Your body isn't broken, it's evolving. And that evolution doesn't require shame, it just needs a little understanding. You don't need fancy perfume, you don't need expensive creams, you don't need to scrub harder or hide away. You just need to know which habits are quietly working against you and how to gently change them. In just a moment, we'll explore 8 common bathroom habits that may be aging your scent without you even realizing it. And we'll walk through simple, science-backed ways to feel fresher, lighter, and more comfortable in your body again. So if you've ever caught yourself wondering why you feel a little off, or if someone you love has made an innocent comment that stayed with you, know this, you are not alone, and you do not have to accept discomfort as a part of aging. Stay with me. This journey might start with a scent, but it's really about reclaiming how you feel in your own skin. 8 bathroom habits that secretly make odor worse. 1. Using too much soap down there. Ruth had always been a woman who believed in staying clean. Not just tidy, but deeply, immaculately clean. It was how her mother raised her. A clean home meant self-respect, and that extended to her body too. So when she reached her 60s and noticed her body changing, her skin becoming drier, her scent shifting slightly, she did what felt right. She scrubbed harder. She used more soap, especially down there. Lavender-scented body wash in the morning, powder in the afternoon, feminine wipes in her purse just in case. But despite all her careful routines, Ruth began to notice something that felt off. A faint irritation, a strange dryness, and sometimes an odor she couldn't explain lingering despite her best efforts. At first, she blamed age. Maybe this is just what happens, she thought. But deep down, it bothered her. So she did something brave. She brought it up with her doctor. And what she learned that day changed everything. Ruth, the doctor, said gently, "Your body is trying to protect you, but the products you're using are stripping away what it needs." It turns out the skin in our intimate areas is more delicate than anywhere else, and inside our bodies are designed to care for themselves. The vagina has its own natural cleansing system and internal rhythm that maintains a healthy balance of bacteria and pH. It doesn't need our help, it needs our respect. When we overwash with soaps and perfumes, even the ones labeled gentle, or for women, we disrupt that balance. We remove the very bacteria that keep us healthy. And in doing so, we create space for irritation, infections, and yes, odor. Ruth was stunned. All these years, she thought she was being extra careful, but in truth, she was working against her own body's wisdom. Now Ruth's routine is simpler. Warm water, a fragrance-free cleanser only when needed. Nothing inside. Nothing harsh, just care. And for the first time in years, she feels fresh, not because she masked something, but because she trusted her body again. Sometimes doing less is the most loving thing we can do. 2. Using bath towels too many times. Helen always prided herself on being sensible. She grew up in a time when waste was frowned upon, and every item in the house had a purpose. So when it came to her bath towel, she did what she thought was perfectly reasonable: hang it back up and reuse it for the week. After all, she used to say, with a smile, "I only use it when I'm clean." How dirty can a towel really get? But over time, Helen began to notice something she couldn't quite explain. Even after a hot shower, her skin didn't feel as fresh. There was a faint, musty smell she couldn't shake, and her once smooth arms had started to develop small patches of dryness and irritation. At first, she blamed her aging skin. "I'm just getting older," she thought. But deep down, something didn't sit right. It wasn't until her daughter came to visit and casually mentioned that the bathroom smelled a little damp that Helen paused. That night, she picked up her towel, took a deep breath, and frowned. The scent wasn't strong, but it was there, a stale odor she had grown used to. Curious, she looked it up. And what she discovered surprised her. Bath towels, especially in humid bathrooms, can trap moisture for hours. That dampness becomes the perfect environment for bacteria, mildew, and even mold. And every time we rub that towel across our clean skin, we could be transferring those microbes right back onto ourselves. The very thing Helen trusted to keep her clean was quietly undoing all her effort. Now Helen does things a little differently. She rotates between 3 towels, washes them after every 2 to 3 uses, and makes sure to hang each one wide open on a rack, not crumpled on a hook. She even leaves the bathroom fan on a bit longer to help everything dry. The result, her skin feels better, the air smells fresher, and that subtle unease she once carried, it's gone. "I never realized something so small could make such a big difference," she says now. And isn't that true of so much in life? 3. Ignoring foot care. Dorothy had always taken pride in how she presented herself. Hair softly curled, blouse pressed just right, a hint of rose water behind her ears. But there was one thing she rarely thought about: her feet. "They're not on display," she used to joke. "No one's looking down there." And for years that worked until it didn't. It started subtly, a sour smell in her shoes even on days she hadn't been particularly active. Then came the dry, flaky skin around her heels. And finally the itch, a quiet, persistent itch between her toes that kept her up at night. Dorothy thought it was just dryness. She tried lotion, changed her socks, switched shoes, but nothing helped. In fact, things only got worse. It wasn't until a visit to her podiatrist that the truth came out. "You're doing everything right," he said gently. "Except the one thing that matters: you are ignoring your feet. As we get older, our skin changes. It doesn't shed dead cells as easily. Our feet, tucked away in socks and shoes all day, become prime real estate for trapped sweat, bacteria, and odor. And those dead skin cells, they build up especially in warm, moist areas, like between the toes, creating a perfect environment for fungus, irritation, and unpleasant smells." Dorothy was stunned. She had been so careful about everything else. Why hadn't anyone told her feet needed their own kind of care? That day, she made a quiet promise to herself to stop treating her feet like an afterthought. Now, every shower includes a full minute for her feet. She gently scrubs them with a soft cloth and mild soap, making sure to wash between each toe. Once a week, she uses a pumice stone to buff away the buildup on her heels. And perhaps most importantly, she dries them thoroughly. Always. No shortcuts. On warmer days or when she wears closed shoes, she sprinkles a light antifungal foot powder to keep things dry and fresh. The result? No more itch, no more odor, and best of all, a new sense of confidence. I didn't just clean my feet. Dorothy laughs now. I listen to them, and sometimes that's all our body wants. 4. Flushing with the toilet lid open. Marge had always kept a tidy home. Her bathroom sparkled, the mirrors gleamed, the lavender air freshener sat politely on the shelf, and her hand towels were changed every other day. So when a neighbor casually mentioned something called a toilet plume, Marge laughed. That sounds made up. She chuckled, picturing a cartoon toilet puffing smoke. But curiosity got the best of her. That night, she looked it up, and what she found made her skin crawl. Every time you flush a toilet with the lid up, tiny invisible droplets filled with bacteria and particles from the bowl are launched into the air, like a microscopic geyser. These droplets can travel up to 6 feet, floating silently before landing on surfaces throughout the bathroom, the sink, your towels, your hairbrush, even your toothbrush. Marge suddenly thought of all the times she had flushed while brushing her teeth or when her clean towels hung nearby. She imagined those invisible particles drifting onto her freshly washed face, onto the soap dish. The thought made her stomach turn. The irony hit hard. Her bathroom looked clean, smelled clean, yet she might have been spreading germs without ever realizing it. From that day forward, she made one simple change. She closed the lid. Every time. It became second nature, just like turning off the lights or washing her hands. And she noticed something else too. The faint, lingering odor she sometimes noticed after guests left gone. The difference wasn't dramatic, but it was real. Her bathroom smelled fresher, felt safer. And when her granddaughter came to stay for the weekend, Marge smiled as she taught her a new rule of the house. Close the lid before you flush. Always. Because sometimes staying healthy doesn't require fancy tools or harsh chemicals. Just a little knowledge and a quiet shift in habit. It's the cleanest bathroom I've ever had, Marge says now with a wink, and I barely had to lift a finger. 5. Wearing the same underwear to bed. Evelyn loved her evening routine. A cup of chamomile tea, her favorite robe soft from years of use, a few minutes of reading before drifting into sleep. It was simple, familiar, comfortable. So when her doctor gently suggested she change her underwear before bed, she blinked in surprise. But I haven't been doing anything all day, she said. No walks, no yard work, I've just been home. She wasn't sweaty, she hadn't worked up a storm. Her underwear still felt clean. But what Evelyn didn't realize, what so many women don't, is that even the quietest days leave behind more than we think. Throughout the day, our bodies naturally release sweat oil and shed skin cells. Add to that a bit of moisture, and you've created a warm enclosed space where bacteria can quietly thrive. And if you wear the same underwear to bed, that mix stays pressed against your skin for hours. Especially in older age, when skin becomes thinner and more sensitive, this constant contact can lead to irritation, unpleasant odors, and even infections like yeast or bacterial imbalances. Evelyn had never considered it. She thought changing into pajamas was enough. But now she saw things differently. That night, she pulled out a fresh pair of breathable cotton underwear, soft, simple, and dry. And for the first time in a long while, she felt noticeably fresher crawling into bed. After a few nights, she even experimented with sleeping without underwear altogether, just her loose nightgown. To her surprise, she woke up feeling more comfortable, less sweaty, and with no lingering odor. It's funny, she told a friend. The less I wore, the better I felt. Now Evelyn keeps a small stack of bedtime-only undergarments, clean, light, and breathable. It's a tiny change, but it made a world of difference. Because taking care of yourself doesn't always mean adding more. Sometimes it simply means letting your body breathe. And when you do, sleep comes easier, and morning feels like a fresh start for your skin and for your spirit. 6. Not cleaning the bathroom trash bin. Joanne always believed her bathroom was spotless. She kept the counters wiped down, the mirror streak-free, and the floor free of dust. There was a small potted plant by the window, a lavender diffuser near the sink. Everything in its place, everything under control, but every now and then she'd catch a whiff of something unpleasant, faint, lingering, almost sour. She checked the sink, the drains, even the bath mat. Still the smell returned. It wasn't strong enough to embarrass her when guests came over, but it was enough to bother her. Enough to make her wonder, where is that coming from? The answer was something she had never considered. Her bathroom trash bin, sitting quietly next to the toilet, her little lidded bin looked innocent. It wasn't overflowing, it wasn't visibly dirty, but that's where the problem was hiding. Used tissues, damp cotton pads, sanitary products. Even when wrapped, they all release tiny amounts of moisture and organic matter into the air inside that bin. And when the lid stays closed, warmth, humidity, darkness. The perfect combination for bacteria and mold to grow slowly and visibly until that subtle odor begins to spread. Joanne had spent years cleaning every surface of her bathroom, except the one that was quietly undoing her hard work. Now she has a new habit. She empties the bin every couple of days, whether it's full or not. Once a week, she gives it a proper wipe down using a vinegar-based spray or a mix of baking soda and warm water. Sometimes she drops in a cotton ball with a few drops of essential oil at the bottom just for good measure. It takes less than 5 minutes, but the difference noticeable. The air is lighter, the space feels fresher, and that faint, frustrating smell, gone. I thought the bin was too small to matter, Joanne says with a smile. Turns out it was loud in its own quiet way. And sometimes the most overlooked corners are the ones that need us most. 7. Wearing an unwashed bathrobe. Linda adored her bathrobe. Soft, warm, and worn just right. It was her comfort after every shower. She had owned it for years and it felt like an old friend. Familiar, loyal. So she never really thought much about how often she washed it. I only wear it when I'm clean, she'd tell herself. I just stepped out of the shower, it can't be dirty. But over time, she noticed something strange. Even after a fresh shower, there were mornings when she felt not quite clean. A faint musty scent clung to her skin, her neck, her arms. It didn't smell like soap. It didn't smell like her. And one day, while folding laundry, she caught a whiff of her robe and her heart sank. It was subtle but unmistakable. That soft, cozy bathrobe she loved, it smelled like the back of the closet. What she didn't realize is that even clean bodies leave behind moisture oils and skin cells. And when you wrap a damp robe around yourself after a shower, that moisture sinks into the fabric. If it's hung in a poorly ventilated space or left bunched on a hook, that dampness becomes a breeding ground for bacteria, mildew, and odor. The very thing meant to make her feel fresh was quietly stealing that feeling away. So Linda made a small change that made a big difference. She bought a second robe just as soft, just as cozy, and now she rotates them weekly, washing each one every 7 days without fail. She hangs them on a wide rack near a window, letting them air out fully. And on sunny days, she even lets them dry outside just like her grandmother used to do. The result: her skin feels cleaner, her mornings smell fresher, and her robe, it hugs her the way it used to, not just soft, but truly clean. I used to think clean was about feeling warm and wrapped up, Linda says. Now I know it's also about letting go of what your skin no longer needs. Because true comfort isn't just how something feels, it's how it makes you feel. 8. Not rinsing underarms properly after shaving. Barbara had always believed that shaving her underarms meant she was doing it right. After all, no hair meant fewer smells. Right, for most of her adult life, she kept up the habit. A quick shave in the shower, swipe on some deodorant, and out the door. Simple, clean, done. But lately, something didn't feel quite right. Even on days when she shaved and wore fresh clothes, she began to notice a lingering odor. Subtle but persistent, she started switching deodorant brands, tried clinical strength formulas, even skipped onions at lunch. But nothing changed. Frustrated, Barbara finally brought it up during a routine appointment. Her doctor listened, smiled gently, and said, "You're doing the first step, but missing the second." What Barbara didn't know is that shaving doesn't just remove hair, it also scrapes away dead skin, leftover deodorant, and bacteria that live on the surface of our underarms. It's like stirring up sediment at the bottom of a pond, and unless you rinse it all away, that debris sits right there in freshly opened pores. So while shaving helps, it also temporarily disrupts the skin, making it even more sensitive to build up an odor. The fix, it's not fancy, just mindful. Now, after every shave, Barbara takes a moment. She gently rinses her underarms with warm water. Then she uses a soft, clean washcloth to wipe the area. No harsh scrubbing, just a light, thoughtful cleanse. After that, she pats dry with a clean towel and lets the skin breathe before applying anything else. During that pause, she might brush her hair or moisturize her face just enough time to let her underarms settle. And the difference immediate. No more mystery odor. No more discomfort, just that clean, confident feeling that lasts all day. I always thought shaving was enough, Barbara reflects, but now I realize finishing the job makes all the difference. Sometimes it's not about doing more. It's about finishing what you've already started with care. If you found even one small reminder in this video that made you feel seen or supported, would you let me know by commenting the number 1 below? It's a gentle way to say I'm here and I'm taking care of myself too. Your presence means more than you know, and together we're creating a space where aging feels a little kinder and a lot more empowered. When you think about it, none of these habits seem like a big deal at first. A towel used a few more times, a robe that feels soft even if it hasn't been washed, sleeping in the same underwear, leaving the lid up, skipping the extra rinse after a shave. They're small things, quiet, routine, the kinds of choices we make without thinking twice because no one ever told us otherwise. But here's the truth: as we age, small things become the foundation of how we feel. They shape our comfort, our confidence. They whisper in our ear when we stand in front of the mirror or walk into a room. And often when something doesn't feel right, when we feel just a little off, we blame age. We think, maybe this is just what happens now. But aging isn't the end of freshness or dignity or beauty. It's just a new chapter that calls for gentler care, deeper awareness, and more kindness toward ourselves. Every single habit we explored today is easy to adjust. None of them cost much. They don't require special tools, fancy products, or perfect routines. Just a little shift, a little attention, a little love. And what you gain in return is something you can't put a price on. You feel better in your body. You breathe easier in your own skin. You walk a little taller. Because when your body feels cared for, your spirit follows. And that, dear friend, is where real confidence begins. So here's to the little things done with wisdom, intention, and heart. You've earned it. If you found even one tip in today's video that made you pause, smile, or feel just a little more understood, would you let me know by commenting the number 1 below? It's a simple way to say, yes, this spoke to me, and it helps me know I'm walking beside the right people. And if you have a dear friend, sister, or neighbor who could use a quiet boost of confidence, consider sharing this video with her. Sometimes the smallest changes can make someone's whole day feel different. If you'd like to keep learning ways to care for your body gently and age with grace, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. We share simple, trusted tips made just for women like you, because feeling fresh, strong, and confident isn't something you leave behind with age. It's something you grow into day by day. Thank you for spending this time with me. You're not alone, and you're doing beautifully.